Hello everyone, this is another video of series in AWS API Gateway. Today I'm going to show how to troubleshoot API Gateway if something is not working as expected. So here we are enabling Cloudwatch logs for the API Gateway and see where to look in case if you get any errors. As usual, please like and subscribe if you like this content, I really appreciate it. Furthermore, if you have any comment or clarification, please comment below. Let's get in. Right, I'm in the AWS API Gateway and we do have two endpoints, currently two API. And what we're going to do, we will see what's in the demo API. Already I created demo API and it's come with the two endpoint for the user. We do have a resources called users, and we do have a two endpoint, which is get and post. So if we see the post endpoint, what we can see its post endpoint is integrate with the Lambda. So if you go to the Lambda, so this is a Lambda, it's integrated with this post endpoint. So let's see what this Lambda does. If we go to the demo post user, this is a sample Lambda function. So what we can see in the code, it's pretty much it's get the event and just put some login as a separate, and if you want you can do other customized logic over here. So in this case what I'm going to do, I'm grab the username from the event and return the username with the message. That's all this post does. So in your case, just you can do anything whatever you want with the event object. So that's pretty simple, this endpoint. Let's see whether it's working. So I do have a post endpoint. So basically postman, and this is the post endpoint. And if I go to how to get the URL, if you go back to API Gateway, and if you go to the staging, because this resources already I deploy into dev environment, and if you go to the staging, this is our endpoint. So I'm copy, go back to my postman, I create a request, I save it. So this is a pretty standard the way of calling the API gateway to the postman. So method is post and this is URL. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna send some username. So we say we need to add this user, say this user. So once you send it, what's going to happen? Yes, we get the success message which is returning from the Lambda. So basically whatever the message, the name in the request will revert back with the added. So if I go back to the postman, the Lambda, and what you can see, we grab the username and return the message, the same message. Now this is working. What's going to happen if something wrong with the API gateway? So we do not have we do get some issue with the client, of course, but as a server side, we don't have any issue, any logs. So that's where we are gonna check. So we will recreate some issue in the API gateway. Then let's see how we troubleshoot. Right, so I'm in a demo post user Lambda. So what I'm going to do, I'm creating an error in a Lambda. So basically what we can do, if you go to the configuration of this Lambda and go to concurrency, basically concurrency, and what I'm doing, I'm editing the concurrency and set the reserve concurrency into 0. What does it do? So if we set the 0, this Lambda get throttled. So basically no one can call this Lambda through, in this case, through the API gateway. So I'm saving. Everything is saved. You can see the function is throttled. Your function can be invoked while the reserve currency is 0. That's fine. That's something we need to create as an error. So if I go back to postman, and so how do we, so just I forgot to mention how to set the method body for the postman in the postman UI. So what we're going to do, you need to select the body and the row, and then you select the JSON type over here. So then we have sent it the JSON type. Now let's say we change into user2. If I send it, yes, we get the internal server error, right? Because of course we know we made the purposely we made the issue in the Lambda, which is throttling the Lambda. So now we get the internal server error, right? So how do we check this error? So whenever user get this internal issue, so how do we check? Okay, the first thing is we need to go back to our Lambda. Let's see, because we know it's calling the Lambda, so let's go to the Lambda and check the, either you can go monitor. So this is a monitor, and what you can see, UTC is local, get a refresh, and what you can see some metrics in the invocation. Let's say invocation happen, duration, error, and then there should be something called throttling. So currently it's not updated yet, but we should get some throttling. Here we go. No, it's let's see, yes, one throttle. No, it's not yet coming. We should see something throttling over here. Let's give us some time, and then after few minutes we will come and see is there any throttle here. The next one, while I'm getting the metrics updated, so what we can do, we can go to Cloudwatch and see is there any logs we can see in Lambda. Go to here and open the Lambda. So what you can see, what I'm doing, I'm gonna delete this log file for the Lambda, then go back again, and let's try, this is 11:54 AM, right? So we get a couple of requests and all are got error. So go back to our Lambda, give a refresh and see the Cloudwatch log. You can see you won't see any Cloudwatch logs for the Lambda, because actually it's not hitting the API request won't hit the Lambda. So that's why you can't see any logs even though we get error, right? So now where we need to look, if I go back to Lambda again, give a refresh, nice refresh, and see the monitoring, and let's see throttling. Yeah, after throttling, okay, here we go. So you can see we got some throttling in the dashboard. So we have some occurrence with that for the Lambda. This is Lambda and monitor. How do you check monitor and check the throttling? That's one way you can troubleshoot, right? Then is there any way we can troubleshoot in API Gateway? Let's go to the API Gateway. Do we have see any logs in the API Gateway? If I go back to the API Gateway, and this is the resources, as you can see, no any. Let's go to our dashboard. So we do have a dashboard. Let's go here, and what you can see, you can see some logs is coming. I'll a little bit zoom in to get some idea. So we can see more graphs in the UI, and what you can see the some 5x error, right? That means some exception happen. But how do we check? So if we view in logs, view in cloud logs, what you can see only the metrics. So this is something you see, we got some 5x error, but we don't know what the actual error is, right? So how do we do that? So basically what we need to do something enabling the logs. So if I go back to the Cloudwatch, the main screen, and click on the log groups, what you can see cloud groups, log group for Lambdas, but we can't see any logs for the API Gateway. That's the issue. So basically we can't see any Cloudwatch logs for the API Gateway, therefore we can't troubleshoot. That's where what we are going to do. We're gonna enable the Cloudwatch logs for the API Gateway. Very first thing is what you need to do. You need to go to the global level and the settings, and then go to, you can see the login. You need to enable the login. So let's say we click on the edit, and what you need to do, you need to give a role where the particular role has a permission to add logs or call the Cloudwatch logs and create logs and append. So that's just something we need to do for the global level settings. So this is something you need to do only one time per this account. What we're going to do, let's create a role. So as you can see, you need to see Cloudwatch log role ARN. So we will create a log role which can create the logs, and we can attach a role to our AWS Cloudwatch. Let's go to the roles and create a new role. What we're going to do, in this case AWS services, and select the services as an API gateway. Right, then click on next. Right, what it gets is a default. If you add the API gateway, the permission policy, basically the policy, it says Amazon API gateway push to Cloudwatch log. This one has basically, you can create logs, the permission. This has an action, create log group, create a log stream sort of thing. All the actual action need to create a logs group for the API gateway. So click on that, and I'll give a bit of bigger. So we'll say AWS API Gateway role demo. Copy that, and let's create the role. Right, so let's see. Yeah, our role got created, and copy the ARN of this newly created role and go back to our API gateway settings. If I go and paste the ARN of the new role and just unit serve change. Right, so we added the role to global level settings for the logging. Now we need to go specific API. Let's go to API, demo API, and then go to the API settings of the particular API. And then what you need to do, there's something called, okay, let's go to the staging, not the API settings. So go to the stages, and then this is a stage. We do have a level, and then you can see the log and tracing. This is where you need to enable. So what we need to do, we need to click on the edit, and in the drop down select the whatever the types what level of logs you need. You need error only or errors and info, and the full request. Full request is basically, it's good way if you want to troubleshoot more in depth. So in this case, let's say we will select a pull request and response logs, and let's say we need detail metrics. And what you can do, you can enable X-ray tracing, but it's a little bit costly for you. But still you can do some X-ray tracing. But in this case, we don't need to do enable the X-ray tracing, for just enabling the Cloudwatch good enough. And the customer access login. So if you want to do a customer's access login, so what does it do? It's create the path with the custom path you are giving here. So I'll show you what is the difference custom access, and once you go to the Cloudwatch. So let's keep it as this, just enable the detail metrics and save changes. Right, so as you can see, now the logs are enabled for our API. Now what we're gonna do, we will go to our Postman again. Let's try again. So yes, still we get the error because we are not fixed the error. We are enabling the Cloudwatch logs for the API gateway. Right, now if I go back to Cloudwatch first screen and give a refresh, what you can see, the new API gateway logs comes. So as you can see, this says dev. This is something we created for our API gateway. And as mentioned, we haven't give a custom login, so that's why it's come with some with like a random GUID. So if you can make it, if you want to really more readable logs group name, so you can add over here custom access login. I guess at this moment it's good enough. What we're gonna do, we're gonna click here and let's see what's in the logs. So basically we see 3 logs. Let's click on the very first one. What you can see, it's come with the more detailed, very detailed logs information for the API gateway. As you can see, verified user plan, basically it's checking when it's a request hits, it's checking is there any usage plan attached to particular API. And as you can see, it's API stage is this, and it's checking is there any authorizer attached. And what you can see, usage plan check succeeded, everything is okay. Then it says okay, which what is the resources heading, it's a request path sort of thing. Then what you can see, what's kind of header it's in the request, and what furthermore what you see, okay, this is the payload it's coming for the request payload. So this is something we push, and then what we said, it's okay, this is endpoint it's hitting. After that, as an integration, you can see our the post lambda, basically it's a post request post demo post user lambda, it's trying to invoke it. And then what you can see, sending request, receive response as a 429. Yeah, that's good. What happened, you can see its status is 429. What we can check, okay, here we go further down and response and execution due to, so then it shows the actual issue. What's this? Execution failed due to the configuration error red XZ. So as you mentioned, what we did the concurrency to 0, because concurrency is 0, no one can access the lambda. So that's the issue over here. So you can see the very detailed logs to troubleshoot the API gateway. Right, what we can do, we will go back and then let's see whether it's working. Go back to configuration and concurrency, and let's see set to default. Use unreserved account currency, and this should be done. We'll go back again, and if I click let's say this is 3, this should work. So they say okay, now so there's no issue in the lambda side, we should get a correct response. So if we go back to again and we see the detail logs, so we should see logs. Let's take time, give a sec, and we will come back. Okay, so here we got the fourth request, and you can see it's completed the 200. It's everything is okay. Right, now let's see if we go back to lambda. Let's see, this is a lambda Cloudwatch log. We should see the success one over here. Yeah, we got the log for only for success. If something happened with the concurrency limits, we do not get the logs for the lambda. So it's hard to, unless we do have a login for the API gateway, it's hard to troubleshoot what's going on. As I mentioned, one thing is we can use for the monitor of the lambda. If we go, the last time it was not updated. Let's see in the throttle side. Okay, you can see earlier we had a couple of throttles. Those are the numbers in here. You can see the dashboard of the lambda to get some idea what it's throttling, but to get a more good understanding, we need to enable the API gateway. Right, that's pretty much the video. Is pretty easy. So just enable the API login for the API gateway. Quickly, if I go through how to do that. So basically we need to enable the global level settings. If you go to settings and go to login, under login, and you need to create a role which has a permission to push Cloudwatch logs, then attach that logs, save it, then go back to your specific API gateway, then under stages, and select the particular stages and need to enable the full logs, or whichever you can select. Basically it saves some time basically if you want to only the error only, because you don't need success request, so you can select only the errors only, or errors and information only. Right, that's pretty much on how to enable Cloudwatch login for API Gateway. If you have any question, please comment below. Again, please like and subscribe if you like this video. Really appreciate it. See you on next video.